What does it actually mean to learn Arabic as a Muslim? Because most people say, I want to understand the Quran, but what does it actually mean? And most importantly, how do we actually understand the Quran? How is the Quran understood? Because here's something very important to realize. The Quran is not understood in isolation. The Quran is understood through the explanation, through the tafsir that the scholars for centuries have produced and have written, and that the Prophet ﷺ has made dua for his companions to teach them at-ta'wil, to teach them the interpretation of the Quran. So the Quran needs to be understood through the tafsir. That's what tafsir ibn Kathir is. That's what tafsir al-Tabari, that's what tafsir Mujahid, al-Baghawi, all of these tafasir, that's what it is the explanation of the very advanced, eloquent text, which is the kalam of Allah, which is the speech of Allah Azza wa Jal, which is the actual Quran. And this, as we said, is not something new. Even the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Quran was revealed to them, and Arabic was their first language, they would still ask the Prophet ﷺ, what does this mean? What does that mean? Even though they understood the words, they still needed clarification of the meaning. So what does that tell us? It tells us that learning the Arabic language alone is not enough to understand the Quran. But stay with me, what does that mean? Don't get scared. What I mean is that you still need to refer to the explanations given by the scholars. So the question becomes, if I want to understand the Quran properly through tafsir, what level of Arabic do I actually need? Because once that is clear, everything else becomes simple. Now, instead of aiming for something vague, like I want to be fluent in Arabic, we define a very clear target, which is I need to reach a certain level in Arabic to understand the Quran through the tafsir, because that is where your connection with the Quran deepens. That is where meanings are explained. That is where your understanding of the deen expands. So instead of asking how long will it take me to become fluent, the better question is what level of Arabic do I need to get to understand the tafsir? So now let's make these practical, right? The way we are going to do this is by using a system that is used internationally to measure language ability. It's called the CEFR levels. And it basically breaks language into 6 levels: A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. Now, before we apply this to Arabic, let's understand what these levels actually look like. I'm going to show you short examples in English so you can clearly see the difference between each level. A1 level. This is a text in A1 level. I go to the store every day to buy food. I like simple things, and I do not speak much. I understand basic words, but I still need help when people speak fast or use long sentences. Now, this is A2 level. I went to the store yesterday to buy some food for the week. It was not too busy, so I was able to find everything I needed. Sometimes I still have difficulty understanding longer conversations. Now, this is B1 level. I went to the store to buy groceries, and although it was a bit crowded, I managed to find everything on my list. I can handle daily conversations, but I sometimes struggle with more complex discussions. Now, this is B2 level. Despite the crowded store, I was able to navigate through the aisles efficiently and find everything I needed. I can understand most conversations and express my thoughts clearly, even in more detailed situations. Now we go into the last 2 more advanced levels. C1 level. Although the store was extremely busy, I navigated it confidently, adapting quickly to the environment and completing my shopping efficiently. I can express myself fluently and understand complex ideas with little difficulty. Now the last level, C2. In spite of the store's overwhelming congestion, I maneuvered through the intricate layout with precision, effortlessly acquiring every item while maintaining full awareness of my surroundings and engaging in nuanced conversations. Okay, now that you can clearly see the difference between these levels, let's do something practical. So what I did was I took a real page from a cool book, from a book called Al-Mukhtasar fi Tafsir, which is this one right here, which is a simplified version of tafsir, which I love reading, and it gives you clear context. So when you read your muraja of the Quran, your daily revision, you actually feel the Quran because you have gone over the tafsir. So this is not even the most complex tafsir. This one is already simplified. So I took one page from it and I put it into AI. And I asked it to analyze, based on the levels, the CEFR levels, to analyze what level of language linguistical level is this tafsir? And this is what it came back with. It said that a student at a high B2 level would be able to understand 70 to 80% of the text, and a student at C1 level would be able to understand 90 to 98%. Now just think about that for a moment. This is tafsir. This is to understand the Quran. And you don't even need the highest level of Arabic to understand majority of it. You don't need perfection. You don't need to become a scholar. You need to reach a level where you can understand most of what is being said and then continue improving from there. So when people think I need years and years before I can even begin to understand the Quran, that is not actually true. The level you need is much lower than what you have been imagining. And once you reach that level, your relationship with the Quran changes completely through the tafsir.